Good evening, everyone. So today's class, we are going to let me share my screen. So in the last class, we talked about the database. So how you able to create the database, and we were able to create database successfully. So and actually, we did some columns. So that everybody we able to create database. So in the last class, we were able to create a database called information, and we create a table employees. So today's class, earlier on, I told you that we're going to be making use of this MySQL tutorial, which is the link I think I have sent to you earlier. And today we are going to talk about the MySQL, under the MySQL basics, we are going to talk about join, how you can join table. We are going to talk about the alias. So whereby you can combine two columns together and give it a particular name. That is function of the alias. So also we are going to talk about the the join, which is the inner join, the left join, right join, and the likes. So also we are going to talk about the grouping data. So grouping data in such a way that okay, you have a particular data and you have to group them together. So that's what the grouping data does, and we are going to talk about subqueries. So let's get started. So when talking about the alias, and you are going to what the alias is just like you have a database. For instance, you have a database like this. So let me just comment it. So under the database information, we have the table employees and we have the table orders. For instance, from these orders, you want to make sure that okay, the order date and order total you want to give it a particular name. So you can just okay, select order underscore date, comma, order underscore total as what? As order details. As order details. So what we did here is just like, okay, you are trying to put a group of columns together and give them a particular name. So now I said the order date and the order total as order just from what? From the table order. So let us try and run it and see what it's going to come up with. You can see the order date and order details. So for instance, now let me just say we should be expecting from order. So for instance, let me just say, okay, we want the first name. First name as what? As info from employees. And first name as information data. So once I assume that okay, what it does is like okay, so we want you to give another name. That's why we said we want it to be like this. Table information employee. Okay, employee. We have to remind you of this spelling. So you can see now. I think that okay, it brought out what? Information data. Information instead of we saying the first name, we are seeing the information data. So that's what it does. It's trying to represent the first name with information data. And another thing you can do is just that, okay, you can concatenate it. That's it, okay, select concat. You want to concat the first name and the last name as what? The information data that you need. You should concat it as what? We are going to say first name, last name, comma, then we are going to put your, let's say, okay, our first name, then last name. As well, the information data from the employee. So you can see Aremu Oluwaseun, which is the first name, and the last name is Oluwaseun. You can see Atobatelo Sukomi, we have Oluwafemi Akinyele, and the like. So that is what the alias does. It enables you to represent data in another form. So maybe so that okay, instead of using first name, last name, you can concatenate them using the keyword concat, which is this one. It's going to give you the first name, the last name, and information. So that is what the alias does. So you on one of the assignments you are going to do just like you create a table whereby okay, you have the information, you have the first name, the last name, the category, and like just come up with a table and try the alias and later represent those tables with another particular name. So let's go and check what is inside, what is being written inside here. So for more information, we said to assign an alias to a column, you use the AS keyword followed by the alias if the alias contains spaces. You must quote it as the following. So something like this, you can say, okay, the column name as well this descriptive name, in which name you want to give the column. For instance, they make use of the employees here, employee number, last name, first name, and the like. And try to concatenate them. And so that is what the alias does. And so that is just it. That is just you represent. You can use an alias to give a table a different name. You assign a table and an alias by using the AS keyword as the following syntax. You can see. So that is just an example of the alias. So because by tomorrow we would be able to finish the database that we are working on so that we are going to move on to the Spring Boot. And if there's any question, we'll talk about it tomorrow as well. So we talked about the alias, so we are going to talk about the joining tables together, joining two or more tables. One of the factors that enables you to join tables, just like the, the columns must have a similar name for you to be able to join tables. If it doesn't have a similar name, you won't be able to join the table. For instance, I have here the employer, I have the customers, and what I have the order. So from the customers, I have the first name, the last name, email, and the customer ID. So for the orders here, I think we at least we are able to we can create a database table on our own, and actually I would like us to practice it. So by tomorrow I want to see the table in which you created. So before I end the class, I will also give you an assignment because there are some things we need to work on. So see orders, we have the customer. From the customers, we have the customer ID, we have the first name, the last name, and the email. From the others here, we have the customer ID, order date, order total. What makes you what's going to give you the criteria for you to be able to join two tables together is that these customers they must have a similar name and similar data types with the other tables you want to join. That is the key factor that will enable you to join things together. From the customers now, we have the customer ID, the first name, the last name, and the email.
So we can see the orders. Orders as what? Order ID, the customer ID, the order date, and the order total. So the customer ID has already exist inside the order. So it will enable you to practice, it will enable you to be able to join the table. If it doesn't exist, you won't be able to join the table. So there is no any abstract or any magic. So from here now, we can set, so for instance, this is the code you are going to make use of. For instance, now we can set this. We can say select orders dot what order ID. Because order is a what? A table name. So why the order ID exists is one of the table columns. So because we want to join two tables together, we said order ID, we said comma the customer's dot first name. Because when you check the customer table, it has the first name. When you check the orders table, it has order date as well. Orders do has what? Orders total. You can see that you were able to pick all the column that is inside the orders, which is the order date, order total. Fine. And you come back to your customer, you were able to pick the first name and the last name. Fine. You decide that okay, you don't want the email to be there. So if you want the email to be there, you add it to it. Now after I didn't add any information to the data, but after so I'll do that now after joining the table. So okay, let me first do that. Let me try and add some information into this customer so that we will be able to see what is going on. So let me just try and do this now. So insert into customers. So whereby the what inside the customer with first name, with first underscore name. We have the last name, which is the last underscore name, and actually we have the email. Email. Now we say so the first name, which is let's say okay, Adeola. The last name, let's say Adewale, and the email to be what? Adeola at gmail.com. So I've tried to add a single data inside of this customer. So let me add another data inside of this customer. I said, okay, Remo, Joachim, and Remo at gmail.com. So let me add one more name to it. So Penny. Okay, Gmail. Fine. So under this customer now, I was able to generate three names. One, two, three. So let me move on to the orders. Say the what? Orders table. Orders. Orders table. I have a column which is what? Customer ID. Customer ID. And actually, so before we end of this class, also we are going to talk about the foreign key. So what the foreign key does, I'll explain to you as well. So the customer ID, we have the order date, I also have the order data, which is the factory name. I said, okay, um, one, that date, 2022, 2023, so, to so under data, so the that is being order, and the voucher, and the so really, I didn't put this quote there because it's an integer and this one is also double. Let's see the output. So you can check all. And see now the order ID of the customer ID, the order date, and 3,000 there. Let me add two more. There's a two, 3, 2, and then it was said, okay, 5,000 naira. So, join, fine, yeah. We want to do third one. What we are trying to do, we want to join the tables together. We want to join the customers table and the orders table together. And I told you one factor that will enable you to join them is just that there must be a similar column that is going to make the joining to be possible. The similar column that we are talking about is the customer ID, because the customer ID already exists under the customer. So you take the customer ID inside the orders so that you use it, so that you will be able to join the columns together, and they must ask what? They must have the same data type. If it doesn't have the same data type, it's not going to work. So that one is just a reminder. 6,000 naira. Okay, it's on this. So the run is fine. Now you have your orders and the length, and you have the orders table. You have some information in the order table, and we also have what? The customer. Now we want to do the first what? Which is inner join. Our different types of join. We have the inner join, the right join, the left join, the side join, also them check. So the cross join, the self join, but mostly we make use of the inner join, the left join, and the right join. So after that, I said order ID. I pick the order ID. I pick the customer first name, the customer last name, the order date, order total. From where? From order. And I said inner join what? Which table? The customer's table. On all these ones are keywords. We on means it's going to tell you that okay, where orders.customer ID is equals to what? Customer.customer ID. You can see that the column name that is going to be equals to must be what? Must be the same in the other table. It must exist in the both table. That same name must exist in both table. So let us try and run it and see the output. You can see you were able to do what? You were able to combine two tables together. You were able to combine the order ID, the first name, the last name, the order date, and what? Order total. You can see now you're able to combine the customer table and the orders table together. That is what we call join. So let's, for instance, now you don't want to use the first name. You want to use the what? The email. That's the customer's email. still going to give you. You can see the order ID, the email order. So we said, okay, we don't want to see the order date. We only want the table to join the total for you. And you see it also, it's going to come up. You can see, so just practice it more and you will understand better. That is what we call join. For example, let's see what it is being written here. Inner join query rows from a table that has matching rows in another table. It must have the what matching rows in another table. We will move on to the left join. The left join return all rows from the left table and matching rows from the right table, or not, with no matching rows found in the right table. Let us go inside what this left join is trying to talk about, and we are going to do the example. So left joins allow you to query data from two or more tables, similar to the inner join clause. The left join is an optional clause of the select statement, which appears immediately after from the clause. Let's see. We want you to join condition. Let's see how we're going to work here. I want to return the date and I want to return the first name. So okay, let's tell okay. Let's try and see the difference between the inner join and the left join. Other ID the first name, last name, other date, and the like. So left join. Other ID first name, last name, other date, other. I don't see any difference there. Well, because everything is accurate, and let us try the right join. Actually, mostly it's still actually the same. So what you want to need to understand that when you want to join two tables together, you have to know what you have to know the table you are going to join, and it must have what similar names. It must have similar names that is going to exist between the two tables you are joining. Now I'm trying to join the customers and the other table. They said, okay, the customers table, which has the customer ID. Also, you put that customer ID inside the what? The other table, so that you will be able to join the tables together. He said after selecting those data unique from the others table, you move ahead to select the customer table as well. You said from what? From others. Then you what do you use the inner join? You join what? The tables that you want to join to it, which is the customer on what? Then you look for the similarities, the columns that exist between the two of them, which actually must have the same data type as well. I repeat it, the same data type as well. That's why I said, okay, right, you then I join the customers on what? On others dot what? The customer ID equals to customers dot the customer ID. Actually, you can decide to put it from my side to put the customers for and decide to put this here to the what? Others. That's again to get the same response. So, as you can see, so what matter most is the column here. Let us try and see if we are going to get the same thing. So I want to put another column. Let's just say called others dot. Let me say other IDs. So when you don't do try an error, so you don't be able to know if you are what you are doing inside of it. Fine, you can see. So when I put the other ID, it's still right. It's the same. So I think maybe because they have the same what, the same data type. The entire ample is constant. But now doesn't have the same data type with it. Can see. Let us see the error code. Unknown colon, others, the first name. Okay, others doesn't have first name. Okay, let's see. Okay, I know it doesn't. Others. So you can see that it brings an empty data. It brings an empty data because it doesn't have the same data type. It doesn't have the same data type. Let me try and change this one to customer as well to first name. We are trying to try different see. So what matters most is you representing it with the ID so that you get the response that we are looking for. So that is just about that one. That is just about the join. Mostly we don't use it like that. Then especially when you are trying to write the query or you are decided that okay you want to print something and output that okay you need to join two tables together. That okay you need this from this table, you need other ones from that table. So you need and you want to name them as a particular table. So that is what you need. Maybe you are trying to write a query in a project that you need, which is much more important. So then you have to think about okay how you are going to go about it. When which you are going to decide that okay, you bring the table, two tables together. That is the query so we're able to join it together so that when the user see the output, so the user is going to be saying, oh wow, it's come out well. So the user self will now know that you are joining two tables together. You the backend gonna like okay, you join two tables together before the user will be able to see it clearly. That is just about the join table, the inner join, the right join that perform the similar function. These are the customers tables. So from there, let me move on to the foreign key. What the foreign key does is just like it helps you to link two tables together. It's like you linking a parent class, a parent table to the child table. So for instance, now we have customers. This is a customer, which is the parent table. The others here is the what? Is a child table. Because the others will depend on what? The customer. What the customer wants to do is just like, okay, customer wants to take an order and say that, okay, this is an order. I'm taking an order. So the others is going to be like a child table, while the customer is the parent table. Because if the customer doesn't exist, others cannot exist. So we want to do a foreign key now. So foreign key is that is how we normally do it. So it's more or less like joining tables together because that is what it happens. You know this customer ID exists here. So I said, okay, this is the customer ID. If you want to do the foreign key, so you click here, you can see the foreign key because you want to join it to table. It's just like a relationship that we did before that I would say one to many, many to one. So we can set so in that type of relationship, we are trying to do one to many relationship because a particular customer can order more than one thing, can order two things, the customer can order three things. That's why it's a one to many relationship and at the same time many to one relationship. Many orders to one customer to many others. So if you want the relationship to exist, you make use of the foreign key. So that when you try to write your logic, then you're like, okay, one to many relationship in which you've done before. So you already know that okay, this customer, which is just a lone customer, can order for more than one thing, can order for so many things. It can order for food, it can order for utensils, it can order for system, it can order for anything. Many, it is not restricted. So whereby others do is what? Many to one relationship because many others can come from just one customer. So with the help of linking two the customers and the others together, you make use of the foreign key. Making use of the foreign key will enable you to link the two tables together. You make the customers as the parent table, while the others is the what? is the child table. So once you go ahead and look to them together, and one of the things that you have to look is that they must have the same data type. They must have the same what? The same data type. And in the child table, the customer ID must exist because anything that's going to represent the parent table must exist inside the child table for you to be able to link them together. So we click on the foreign key here, we name it. You can just give it any name that you want, FK1, I can say FKQ, anything. This is the reference table. The reference table, it means the table that you are trying to reference. We are trying to reference what? Our parent table, which is the customer. You understand? We're trying to reference our table, which is what? Customer, which is one-to-many relationship. You want to do one-to-many. Well, the table you are trying to reference is the customer. Now you reference there with the ID. You click on this column, which is customer ID. It's telling you that what do you want to reference. You said, okay, I want to reference this customer ID. So this is the parent. We set this on update and on delete. What it does here, we put it to cascade. Cascade is going to it's going to be the one that's going to so that there's going to be a relationship. Anything that you do, any update that you put on the parent side, so it's going to affect the anything that you put on the parent table is going to affect the child table. And anything that you put on the child table is going to affect the parent table because there's already the bond between the two of them. A relationship has existed between the two of them. That is the work of the cascade. You have on update. In case you are trying to update each other one, it's going to affect the both. If you try to delete each other one, it's going to affect the both. That's why we have on update and what? On delete. So then you click what? You apply. So once you click the apply, you click finish. Automatically, you have already bound the customers and the orders together. That is the foreign key does. That is what the foreign key does. This is the primary key here. This is the primary key. You bond it. You bond it. You bond it to the primary key. You bond the foreign key to the primary key so that any relationship that's going to exist between them is going to work out well. And I said earlier on, the click on update is going to update it. You click on what on delete is going to delete it. So now that it's going to delete the parent and leave the child alone. The bond is already there. Anything that affects the parent will affect the child as well. So that is the bond that exists between the both of them. And that is the foreign key and the primary. Because by tomorrow we'll end this database class and you have to go with it. If there's any question, you come back and you're able to trash it out as well. Because that is just about the join and as well the primary key and the foreign key. So and actually let us move on to grouping data. Grouping data is just like you grouping data, I said group by and the likes. So we are going to talk much more about this grouping because of the assignment I'm going to give you today, you're able to create a data, you create a table. So whereby we need to group some tables together and the likes. And also in summary, I'll just give you in summary what this
Group Group by does. It said a group by clause group a set of rows into a set of summary rows by values of columns or expressions. The group by clause returns one row for each group. In other words, it reduces the number of rows in the result cells. The group by clause is an optional clause to the select statement. So it's just like you group a data and say group by what? A particular column. That is what is being done. Can see select status from others and say group by what status. Then it's going to group it by what status. So let me try one example here. So we said this one inner join. So let us try maybe it's going to work out here, which you can just say group by order total. Let's see maybe it's going to work here. Maybe it's going to work in the inner join. Group by so first name. Let's try it out. Group by first name. It work.
So that is what the group by does. It's going to enable you to group something together. I said, okay. Mm, 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 mm. So that is what it does in general. It helps you to group your data together. The group by a particular stuff. What you have to take note of that anytime you are clicking the group by or the group by the statement you are trying to that particular thing you want to group by must exist in the column you wrote first. That is one of the things you have to put into consideration. That is one of the things. You can see the select the first can assume we have a good we have much database the tables we can work on, then we will be able to do it. Like this count and the like is a database function in which we are going to talk about tomorrow. So the assignment I'm going to give you just for you to create a database that has table. So let's say like 5 tables or like 6 tables. You populate it with data, and after you populate it with data, you make sure you have something like category, you have something like status, you have something like amount, you have to so let's say you want to create a database that contains you can check online to come up with data. So I will send a link to you to a website whereby you can generate a data from so that you can just import it into the database and as well. So once you're able to do that, we're able to interact it. I will send you the link. The name of the database is Moko. Moko. I'll send it to the general group to where we normally communicate so that I'll send it to this channel as well. So that you're able to come up with the assignment. So this we have the status, for instance, set count. We talked about the function tomorrow. So we talked about the sum, the how to use the sum, the average, the count, and so we want to count the number of people in the class or so just come up with data with a table that was going to relate to the to something like we calculating. So that you're able to know that okay, we have the salary, we have the bonus and the like. So you have to put them together. So with that one, you're able to do this. So something like you can see we have some quantity or that even come here to come up with the database. So once you come here, you're able to come up with something so that we can interact with. So and so that we're able to understand better. So from here now, you can sum the quantity ordered as what alias. They make use of the alias there. You can say group by what the status. That particular column must exist in the select button, in the select places. So before you can able to group by one of them, you can see this one as an order number, sum, and the like as the order. It's a group by what order number. So that is what the group by does. It enables you to group a particular columns together. You can see this one to now order date as here. So that is what the group by does. That's what and every enjoy it. So having group by two is similar to having and something like similar to order by as well. So it everything just help you to put a particular column together and by using it, you can see we're having filter the groups by a specific condition. Roll up, generate multiple group sets considered in the hierarchy between column. So that is what that one does. We have then we move on to subqueries. What is subquery does? It is we are just going to give the overview. So just to happen that okay, this thing exists. Because if you try to work with it now, it can affect what you've been working on. So just know that it exists. That is what I want you to that is why I want to go through it. So later on when we work on the likes, you understand it. What subquery is just like writing a query inside a query. That is what the subquery does. Because a MySQL subquery is a query nested within another query, such as select, insert, update, or delete. Also, a subquery can be nested within another subquery. A MySQL subquery is called an inner query, while the query that contains the subquery is called an outer query. Let me give you the overview again. I said MySQL subquery is called what? Inner query. Why the query that contains the subquery? MySQL query is called the inner query. Why the other one that contains the query is called what? It's called outer query. MySQL query is called the inner query. Why the
Subquery itself is called or after query. A subquery can be used anywhere that expression is used and must be closed in a parenthesis. This is the first time for instances. For example, the following query uses a subquery, which is the inner query, which is the outer query, sorry, to return the employees who work in the offices located in the United States, USA. For example, now you have to select the last name, first name from employees, where office code, you select office code from offices. From there, you start able to join what? Two tables together. USA. You can see, let us see the explanation here. The software returns all offices code from of the office located in the United States America. The outer query select the last name, the first name, which is the MySQL query. No, sorry, which is the subquery. Select the first name employee who work in the offices whose office code are in the result set returned by the subquery. Let's see example here. The particular example. I say select the first name, the last name from customer. Okay. So it's going to select the first name, the last name from customer, which is the subquery, which is the outer query. Now we want to deal with the inner query, which is the MySQL query. We now say where customer ID. You can see where customer ID in another query, in another table. You are querying this customer ID. You are using this customer ID to enter another table, which is what? Select the customer ID from order. Now we need to try and run this. You can see it comes with first the names who have ordered, which is Adiola, Aremu, and Oluwafemi. They are the three persons that order because it has used the customer ID, their customer ID, to fetch their name, which is the first name and the last name. It has used the customer ID to fetch their name from the order. So that is what the software does. The subquery is the outer query, while the MySQL query is the what? The inner query. That is what subquery does, and you can practice more of it. So you can practice more of it because what it does is just like inside database of the others, you have the customer ID. So it went ahead. You set the first name, the last name from customer. You bring the first name, last name from this customer. So now I trade through. Sorry for using that. So it now enters the customer ID. So when it enters the customer ID, you now say inside what? Inside it enters it uses the customer ID. Sorry, it uses the customer ID to penetrate through the order table. So after penetrating the order table, it prints out the first name and the last name of those who orders, which is the Adeola, Aremu, and Oluwaseun, are those who ordered. So that is what the subquery does. It enables you to enter another query, another table to bring out some things, more or less like the join. So you can just come up with a table like this, populate it so that we will be able to interact with it, something like this, so that we're able to interact with this and the likes. So that is all about the subqueries. So all these one set operators and the likes you can read down on yourself. And so tomorrow we are going to work on the functions. We are going to work on the MySQL functions. We are going to work on the MySQL functions like the sum, the average, so and the likes. We are going to work with them so that we're able to understand the function. And tomorrow as well, we are going to talk about the stored procedure and the view. How you can make use of stored procedure, their function, their usefulness, and the view as well. That is what we are going to talk about tomorrow. The stored procedure, the triggers, and the view. So from there, after that, talking about the stored procedure, the triggers, and the view, I said bye-bye to my SQL database. So I believe anyone that we did not touch is going to be something that we can read on our own. And after we practice, if there's any questions,
we will be able to answer it ourselves. And if there's any question you have, you can DM me to ask the question. I'm not going to be there for you to answer you. So moreover, the assignment I'm going to give to you is just that you will have to create your own database table to populate it, that we're able to make use of the MySQL functions. So we can create a table that will contain an employee, their bonus, their category of employee that we have, their names, and into different tables. So you can have the employee table, you can have the payroll table, their payroll, and so you have to go through the foreign key. You have to think about, okay, which one is going to have a relationship. That's what we call the foreign key. Maybe one to many relationship, many to one relationship. Please let us endeavor to do the assignment because it's going to be useful in the next class, in which we are going to work on because we are going to talk about the functions. We make use of the functions like the sum, we want to calculate the sum, we want to count the total number of employees, we want to know the average and the likes. That's what we are going to do tomorrow. And after that, we move on to the MySQL procedure, the store procedure. We move on to the triggers. Then we move on to the view. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the class. I hope you enjoyed the class. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye bye.